welcome to this special episode of China Tools. It's hard to believe, but this is already the fourth Double 11 edition of this series. And if you follow my channel for a while, you know that this is the best time of the year to pick something up from Banggood. It's the biggest sales event of the year. And because of that, I'm always a little bit more excited during the Double 11 edition. And I know that's not everyone's taste, but forgive me, I only do this once a year. Hello again, my name is Dennis and I am hooked on wood. Now in this episode I've got a lot of products lined up, so instead of going too deep into each one, I keep it short and to the point. So you still get a clear idea whether a product is worth checking out or better be skipped. And the first product is already hard to show briefly, because it's my own designed T-ruler series. But I'll do a full in-depth review later. And I'm proud to introduce the new TrueMark ruler series, a line of precision rulers designed and developed by me, hooked on wood. And the idea behind TrueMark was simple: to create a layout tool that focused purely on accuracy, feel and usability. And I want to bring the T-ruler back to its primary purpose, measuring and marking, without combining too many secondary functions. Less complications, more precision. And in general, the most practical T-ruler is the one that fits the job. And that's why our TrueMark series comes in 4 sizes: 200, 400, 600 and 800 millimeters. And the 200 millimeter version has been proportionally redesigned, and honestly it's already becoming one of my favorites. And most T-rulers have a hole every millimeter, but this limits the pencils you can use, make it hard to select the right hole, and makes the scale look a bit busy. But with my latest T-ruler I realized I preferred using drawing modules instead of holes. Most of the time you're using a T-ruler for layout and measurement, not for continuously line drawing. So our TrueMark rulers have no holes, but a new type of drawing module that we call the TrueMark Line Master. And to explore how this could work, I bought a Bridge City T-ruler. A beautiful made tool, but I was surprised that it didn't work well in practice. The magnetic modules look great, yet the magnets are far too weak. On a wood grain they shifted easily. So we decided to reinvent that concept. Without increasing the ruler thickness, we machined a small groove into the body. And our line master runs inside this groove and can be locked firmly in place with a twist. And the result is a solid, smooth mechanism that stays perfectly fixed during use. And another important aspect is precision. Incra rulers are famous for their fine resolution, but their tiny holes make them hard to read, they are fragile, and they only work with 0.5 mm pencils. So to achieve similar or even higher accuracy, we added a vernier scale to our line master. And this allows you to set the ruler with up to 0.2 mm precision. So now we have a clean, practical T-ruler with record-breaking accuracy, without being tied to a specific pencil size. Even a pickup pencil will do. And the 600 mm size is also available in an adjustable version. And I own several high-end angle rulers, but none of them are really easy to read. Most use 1-degree markings, which makes them visually noisy. And we close to mark only every 5 degrees. That are the ones you actually use. And since you have to flip the ruler with marking angles, the full scale is repeated here as well. And because 22.5 degree is more commonly used, we added a marking for this on the back side. And besides that, we designed it so you can use it on a flat surface with 18 mm workpieces. Strangely enough, that's not possible with most high-end models. So to wrap things up, with our TrueMark rulers, we developed a series of T-rulers that simply didn't exist in this form before. And in my view, it's one of the most practical and enjoyable T-rulers to work with. Beyond the innovative design, our goal was to match the very best T-rulers on the market, and even go further. Our scale is made from the highest grade stainless steel, and it's so rigid you can hardly bend it. And when you try, it won't buckle. We even designed a matching wall holder that perfectly complements the TrueMark rulers, so you can proudly display it in your workshop. And this is the last prototype, but the final version will be produced with even higher grade machines, which will make the markings even sharper. And we also decided to give the ruler a cleaner look by removing all the unnecessary printing from the scale. In short, the TrueMark ruler series is a fantastic gift under your Christmas tree. And I wanted to show it to you now during this Double 11 video because they set an incredible introduction price. So I hope you love my TrueMark ruler series. Let me know in the comments. These arm jacks are very handy little helpers when adjusting doors, cabinets or lifting heavier pieces. I'm sure many woodworkers will find them genuinely useful. But here's where the story gets a little bit more complicated. When you look at these arm jacks from Banggood, I want to make one thing clear. These are not professional grade arm jacks. If that is what you're looking for, these won't be for you. But it's also not realistic to expect the same performance from a product that costs 1/10 of the professional version. So the question I really want to focus on is whether these arm jacks, which cost around €47 during the Double 11 festival, are actually worth it. And the packaging is fine, and my first impression was quite positive. Yes, they look a little bit industrial, but definitely not fragile. And during our laundry room renovation at home, I used them to hang the doors, and that worked perfectly. For that kind of job, they are absolutely suitable. The lifting itself works surprisingly well. Here, for example, I am lifting a diffuser of about 15 kilos, which is no problem at all. And what I mainly want to show you is how well the fine adjustment works. The lift is smooth and leveling your workpiece precisely is easy to do. Lowering is less refined, but still acceptable for lighter loads. And you can do this in two ways, slowly or quickly. And when the weight isn't too heavy, this works perfectly. And according to the specifications, they can lift more than 200 kilos. That's quite a lot, especially considering that professional models are usually more cautious with such claims. Still, when I tried to lift my workbench, it went surprisingly easy. It didn't feel like it was anywhere near its limits. But when lowering heavy loads, there's not enough leverage to control the movement. So very heavy objects tend to drop rather than lower smoothly. That's clearly a limitation. But does that make these arm jacks worthless? And I don't think so. Now with the Double 11 festival, priced at €46, I think that's more than reasonable. And they fit perfectly within the typical needs for a hobbyist. And if you use them for doors, cabinets or other workpieces, roughly under 75 kilos, they are well built, durable and perform very well for the price. So overall, I'm quite happy with them. For what these cost, these arm jacks deliver exactly what you expect, and maybe even a little bit more. And this is my scoring card. I've gathered a list of products that will hit an all-time low price during Double 11 event. I mean the lowest price in the entire history. And honestly, some of them are just crazy good deals. What do you think about these clear-cut guides for under €122 from the European warehouse? That's simply unbelievable. And this router lift for your handheld router, only €140 in Europe and even less in the US. That's a ridiculous price. Or how about 10 aluminum bench dogs with 2 stops, neatly packed in a hard case box for under €40? What? Really? And this router sled for €57. Come on. Next up is this small piece of hardware, easy to overlook, but an engineering marvel. And that is this Hongdui bench connector dock. And its main purpose is to connect something to your workbench top from above. And if you look at our expanding bench docks, they do something similar and are perfect for connecting something to your workbench, but these bench connector docks go one step further. And it's amazing that you can place it through your dock hole, and when you tighten the screw, it becomes a clamp that secures whatever you want to hold to your workbench. And the reach is between 15 and 45 millimeters, which makes them very flexible to use on different size jigs or workbench top thicknesses. And I recently bought a Festool air cleaner, and I often work with MDF, and when sanding I wanted the air cleaning nearby. But I could only place it on my workbench, which limited my space. But now I can easily extend my workbench with these connectors. But your imagination is the limit to find the best use. You can attach any jig you want in the most secure way. Attach different workbench elements such as a router or extension pieces, especially when you design your workbench with these connected design dogs in mind. And when you create a chamfer, the bench connector dog will sit flush with your surface. An amazing tool, and now with a Double 11 Festival priced at €55 for a pair. And I agree that it's serious money, but it's also a very well built product and far more affordable than the TSO alternatives. And because of its wider reach, more flexible. So a great tool to expand the possibilities of your workbench. Well worth the money. And this is my scoring card. A tri-square is one of the must-have tools in every workshop. It's your ultimate reference when checking if your workpieces are truly square. And they come in all sorts of sizes, and the small ones are super practical, affordable and perfect for setting up your saw blade, your planer, fence or other tools. And over the years I've tested quite a few of them, and if you want something budget friendly yet absolutely reliable, those stainless steel O-grade squares are hard to beat. And it's amazing what they offer for under €10 during the Double 11 Festival. Even high-end models can't match their level of accuracy. But when you start looking for a larger tri-square, things get tricky. They are harder to find, and accuracy over a longer distance is much tougher to guarantee, which makes them pricey. Still, I really believe a large square deserves a place in every workshop. It's simple, better for spotting deviations, and the longer the edge, the easier it is to see if something is off. But now, here's the catch. Despite being quite expensive, it's not something you'll use every single day. And years ago, I bought this Woodworking large square, and brace yourself, it cost me around €450. And it's a beautiful tool, no doubt. And at the time I thought the scale layout would make it great for marking and measuring, which might justify the price tag. But that turned out to be a misconception. A square that big is simply too large to use comfortably for measuring and marking. For that kind of work, you really want a T-ruler. So yes, it's essential, but it's hard to swallow the financial consequences. And that's exactly where this Enjoywood square shines. This large Enjoywood square is an absolute beast. It's big, it's solid, heavy, and at the Double 11 Festival it costs under €55, which I think is surprisingly affordable. And the moment you hold it in your hand, you realize you're getting a lot of tools for the money. It weighs about 1.8 kilograms and feels incredibly sturdy. And the most important thing, of course, is accuracy. Keeping a square true over 60 centimeters is not a small feat. But when I compared it with the woodpeckers, the precision was on par. The design, however, is different. Because of its thick blade, I wouldn't recommend the Enjoywood for marking. The parallax effect makes that problematic. But it's simply too big and heavy anyway. Like I said, just grab a T-ruler for that. But don't underestimate this design. In practice, I found the thicker Enjoywood square far more practical for actual squareness checks. It's very stable, you can clearly see and feel if something is square. And that tactile feedback is really nice because your fingers are very sensitive. And thanks to its weight and mass, it's also perfect for aligning heavier pieces. Setting up a rail guide for a perfectly square cut, for instance, works beautifully. And I also like to use a big square when building cabinets with my domino jointer or lamello. Here I use an UDK version, but for that kind of job you really want a heavy, stable square. One that doesn't shift easily, can take a few knocks and still stay precise. And the Enjoywood would also be perfect for this kind of jobs. And it still costs about half as much as the UUK version. So that's why I find the larger squares with those thick frames more versatile in practice. And when you hold this tool in your hand, you really realize how amazing it is that they can offer this for under 55 euros at this moment. So although you won't use it every day, it is still an essential workshop tool. And the design makes it surprisingly versatile, and given the price, it's just a fantastic buy. And this is my scoring card. The next products are the Drill Pro Edge Cutter and the Edge Trimmer. Two small and simple tools that actually work better than you might expect. They are designed to trim edge banding flush with the surface and to cut the end piece cleanly. And they do that really well. And I tested them way back in episode 3, so that's quite some time ago. But even after all these years, they are still my go-to tools for edge banding. So I thought it was time to bring them back to your attention. So let's start with the Edge Cutter. I originally rated it 4.5 stars. But after years of using it, I can say it still performs flawlessly. It's solid, simple, and still cuts perfectly flush after countless uses. So for a tool that now costs less than 9 euros, it's an absolute steal. And back then I gave it 4.5 stars because there are other ways to do the same job. But none of them are easier, faster, or more reliable. So what I really like is that I can cut the edge band in a second without worrying that something might go wrong. It is always a perfectly clean flush cut. So I think I actually underrated it at the time. Based on my longer experience now, I want to adjust my scoring card to 5 stars. So now let's talk about the Edge Trimmer. I gave this one 5 stars when I first reviewed it. And after trying several alternatives, it's still the one I use for every edge bending job. It trims the edge perfectly flush with the surface. Fast, clean, and in about 95% of the cases it gives a perfect result. But to get the best results, there are a few things to keep in mind. Make sure that the edge bending is properly heated and pressed down with a roller. Don't trim too soon, let it cool down and bond well first. And when trimming, don't apply too much force. Don't squeeze the trimmer hard against your workpiece. Just let it glide lightly and let the tool do its job. And this procedure gives me the best results. And during the Double 11 festival it costs under 7 euros. And it's definitely one of those small affordable tools that deserve a place in your workshop. Still absolutely worth its 5-star rating. Well, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found some products that could be interesting to you. You can check my site for a ranking of all the products I tested with direct links so you can see the special Double 11 prices. I wish you happy shopping. It's a great time to buy something now, not only because of the best deals, but also because it will arrive just in time to place it under your Christmas tree. Thank you for watching, have a great day, and well, we see each other next time.